hella views to begin with. They wasn't even getting hella views at all last year. Now, this year, their views is down by nearly 70%. This is very bad. Now, towards the decline of the WNBA season, towards the end of the season, we start seeing the WNBA kind of fudge the numbers, taking into account group party watch, well, basically watch party viewerships, counting those into, effect like bars and stuff like that. Now, with that being said, that metric.
Recent developments surrounding Nafisa Collier have raised eyebrows as Unrivaled's viewership numbers decline, with suggestions emerging that she may be attempting to utilize Caitlin Clark's name as a bargaining chip during CBA discussions. The situation has evolved dramatically within just 7 days. Collier had previously stated that through her experience operating a league, she comprehends how audience metrics function and understands the various elements that influence securing media rights, agreements, and ensuring appropriate player compensation. However, recent data suggests a different story. Building on yesterday's discussion, fresh information from Yahoo Sports reveals a striking comparison. More viewers tuned into Below Deck Mediterranean than Unrivaled Season 2 opener. Various TNT programs drew audiences ranging from 60,000 down to 20,000 viewers.
With that being said, that metric kind of lied about the numbers allegedly being what they was to close out the WNBA season. Now we're getting data from the Unrivaled pretty much claiming that their numbers are shot, gone, toast, finito, ain't looking good at all. I'm here to tell you the same thing is going to happen for the WNBA this season. The exact same effect that Unrivaled is seeing is going to happen. I've been telling y'all, the WNBA viewership has been on a.
Collier had been promoting her accomplishments and significant achievements during negotiations, attempting to use Unrivaled as evidence to strengthen her position in discussions. Yet, these talking points appear undermined by actual performance metrics. The traditional wisdom holds that statistics tell the truth when words might not, and current figures paint an unflattering picture of the situation. Time appears to be running short for Collier, and questions arise about whether she should remain on the committee engaged in discussions with ownership. Her presence in these conversations seems increasingly problematic and inappropriate given the circumstances surrounding her other business ventures. The conduct displayed throughout this process raises serious concerns.
WNBA viewership has been on a decline. It don't take a rocket science to figure it out. The ladies simply killed the little hype that they had when they was being systematically offensive and abusing Caitlin Clark. Took away the casual fan. The casual fan was something the WNBA never had. I was a casual fan, and I'm pretty sure millions of other people across the nation was casual fans that wanted to watch the women's basketball sector. I'm here to tell you, the women's basketball.
Shifting focus to the primary matter at hand, the WNBPA's reaction to Caitlin Clark's comments regarding the compressed timeline amid CBA negotiations. Last month, the Indiana Fever superstar emphasized the necessity for the WNBA and the Women's Basketball Players Association to establish a path forward for basketball in 2026. The upcoming season faces genuine uncertainty as the league and players' union remain deadlocked on a fresh collective bargaining agreement. Tonight marks the deadline, yet no resolution has emerged. Clark articulated her perspective clearly, stating this represents the most significant moment in WNBA history, something that cannot be mishandled. She emphasized the determination to secure everything deserved.
The women's basketball sector. I'm here to tell you, the women's basketball sector is no longer what it was. I don't even think it's going to be half of what it was when the WNBA come back with some type of agreement for this 2026 season. That's why I've been telling y'all, if the 2026 season does not happen, the WNBA is over. It's over. We're not going to see it at all be what it once was. That's what the whole conversation is. We've been seeing YouTubers change up the content.
During her U.S. basketball training camp at Duke, Clark noted that fans hunger for this and everyone craves the product on the court. Finding a method to conduct next season holds paramount importance. The WNBA and WNBPA are positioned to transition into status quo conditions. A previous breakdown explained what status quo entails in this context. The union maintains firm positions on critical demands, particularly wanting substantial revenue sharing incorporated into any new CBA agreement. The fundamental issue remains that players seek financial commitments the league claims it cannot currently provide.
Change up the content. We've been seeing people talk about other topics. We even been seeing other creators come in my lane and cover football. It's that bad. Some people might need to make a living. I don't know what the situation is, but I know I originally has not been a basketball channel. I just went back home. Now, for people doing what they want to do, to each his own. Now, just like I stated, there is some shocking data coming out of the WNBA pipeline. And I'm here to tell you the WNBA, well, really, this.
With the cutoff approaching, discussions with Mule and Collier address negotiation status, player unity, and why they believe their investments in competing leagues don't represent conflicts of interest. Minnesota Lynx forward Collier and former WNBA MVP Nika Mule both feel that the league, under Commissioner Kathy Engelbert's leadership, has considerable ground yet to cover. An underreported element of these negotiations involves discussions around Engelbert potentially stepping down. Talk of the commissioner's departure hasn't surfaced prominently in quite some time. Could this be the obstacle preventing progress? Previous statements from certain ownership groups suggested desires for Engelbert's removal, though the exact number supporting this remains unclear.
WNBA pipeline, and I'm here to tell you the WNBA, well, really, this ain't got nothing to do with the WNBA, but they gonna be affected by this too. Unrivaled ratings for Monday, January 5th was 40,000. This is bad. This is very, very bad, guys. One person said, I have never seen something so poorly so fast. She said this just 2 days ago. We learned Unrivaled failed to crack 50,000 viewers on opening.
If Engelbert maintains her position overseeing operations, this could significantly complicate players' willingness to sign any new agreement, as her departure appears to be a crucial component of their demands. Regarding Clark's statements, Collier expressed complete agreement but feels the league isn't reciprocating appropriately. She believes the players have demonstrated considerable restraint, avoiding unreasonable requests while maintaining respectful and realistic positions. Mule emphasized that the league must genuinely pay attention, listen carefully, and recognize exactly what players bring to negotiations repeatedly. They've occupied the negotiation room attempting to identify solutions that bring both sides closer together, demonstrating flexibility and reasonableness beyond expectations. The disappointing reality is that the league seemingly doesn't recognize scenarios where player victories and league victories align.
Opening day, the actual business in the WNBA are laughing their asses off right now. Now, this is what Nafisa Collier said. She said this. I reported on this a couple of days ago when they was talking about the CBA. She went on to say, being on the side with Unrivaled, I know what it takes to run a sustainable business. So I think if they can't find a model that makes that happen, they need to put people in place who can. Nafisa Collier.
Every franchise requires training camp periods. Free agency must transpire. These elements cannot be overlooked, as everything faces impact. Free agency processes, training camps, drafts, and various preparation components all demand time before actual season commencement. USA basketball commitments arrive in September, adding further complications. Without resolution within the next 60 days, the entire season faces genuine jeopardy.
Place who can. Nafisa Collier said by her being on the board of Unrivaled, she's seen how to sustain a business. Somebody said we want the season to start on time. They need to come with an agreement. Exactly. Because y'all want to know who gets affected by all of this? The fans. The fans are getting affected. The little fans that they have left will get affected if it's a lockout. And from what I heard and what I reported yesterday,
this timeline poses serious threats to the whole landscape. The cascading effects would impact everyone involved significantly, and these warnings deserve serious consideration as the deadline approaches and both sides remain entrenched in their positions. Stephanie White attended the second day of Unrivaled competition, where Lexi Hull struggled significantly during her time on court. Despite the poor performance, Hull's effort level remained consistently high, which has always been her defining characteristic. In basketball, both professional and recreational, players experience fluctuating performances, and one subpar outing doesn't define an athlete's overall abilities. Players aren't measured solely by their weakest moments any more than they're judged exclusively by their peak performances.
That is That's a fact. That unfortunately is a fact that they made a massive comeback after she got subbed off. And that being said, like, it kind of showed that like it just showed that she still is like not the greatest as far as on ball defense. Like, she is a pest. She got offensive rebounds. She got her hand in a couple of lanes. Ryan Howard literally sees.
Hull's energy was evident throughout her minutes. She secured several offensive rebounds and demonstrated genuine commitment to competing hard. However, the opposing Vinyl team targeted her relentlessly on every possession. When she was substituted out, her team mounted a significant rally, which represents an undeniable fact about the game's flow. This contest highlighted persistent concerns about Hull's individual perimeter defense.
She got her hand in a couple of lanes. Ryan Howard literally sees Lexi Hull and is like, easy money. Just like we've seen Kat Copper, any player that has that bit of speed. And what Ryan Howard did to Lexi Hull today might have violated the Geneva Convention. Like, if there is a quick guard, a lot of the time, especially in this setting, when they see Lexi Hull, they're like, we can run past her. We can run around her. We can run past her. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, there is that bit of a struggle. However, the hustles.
While she functions as a disruptive presence who grabs offensive boards and gets hands into passing lanes, her on-ball defensive capabilities remain limited. Ryan Howard specifically identified Hull as a favorable matchup and exploited her repeatedly. The performance could be described as particularly dominant. Guards possessing quickness routinely view Hull as someone they can beat with speed, running past or around her with relative ease. This dynamic creates ongoing challenges, particularly in the faster-paced, unrivaled format.
Is that bit of a struggle. However, the hustle was there. The offensive rebounding was there. That is all. Like, that is basically what you have to get with Lexi Hull. Like, it is all about the effort. It's all about the hustle, and I just want to see a little bit more out of her. I want to see some development in the shot making. I get it. She can like curl into a kind of fadeaway shot, and kind of that midi, kind of where she catches it off the cut across the middle, where she kind of catches it and falls away into the midi shot.
Nevertheless, Hull's tenacity and work on the offensive glass remain constant positives. These qualities essentially define her contribution. The desire exists to see additional development, particularly in shot creation. Hull can execute a curling fadeaway mid-range attempt when cutting across the middle, but expanding her offensive repertoire would be beneficial. Hull finished with 9 points in this contest, with scoring coming from offensive rebounds, a three-pointer, and drives to the basket that drew fouls.
Put across the middle, where she kind of catches it and falls away into the midi shot. But like, just some shot creation. I think she had 4 points today, and I think they're both off offensive boards, if I'm not mistaken. One was off an offensive board, and they might have both been off an offensive board. Oh, she had 9 today. Oh, she had 3. Oh, she had 3. She did. She had an offensive rebound, a 3, and then she went to the basket and got fouled a few times. Like, I think the effort is always there when it comes to Lexi Hull, and it's always going to be there. But I just really...
Her motor never stops running, and that commitment will always characterize her play. However, greater overall production is necessary for her to maximize her value. Looking ahead, the Indiana Fever face a difficult decision regarding Hull's future with the franchise. The primary concern centers on her potential contract demands and the percentage of the salary cap she might consume. If Hull commands a significant portion of available cap space, the team would be investing heavily in someone who projects as a neutral contributor offensively at best, someone whose primary value derives from hustle plays that nobody else matches in intensity.
But I just really want to see more. And at the end of the day, look, she is one of those players where I think the Fever are going to be dumb to not get rid of her. I'm just really scared when it comes to the price that the Fever and the percentage of the salary cap she's going to take up. Because at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, if she's going to take up a major part of the salary cap, like, you're looking now at a player that's like...
Today's performance reinforced that Hull lacks the ability to function as an elite perimeter stopper. Top-tier guards throughout the league appear to view her as an easy scoring opportunity, confident they can generate whatever shot they prefer against her defense. This represents a legitimate concern for any team considering a substantial investment. Unrivaled competition should provide Hull opportunities for improvement. The Indiana Fever likely need to retain her services, but the question becomes determining appropriate compensation.
You're looking now at a player that's going to be at best net neutral on offense, and is just a hustle player and plays with a level of hustle that nobody else plays with. I'll be completely real here. There's nobody that plays with the hustle of Lexi Hull. But it is showing today, again, it is just showing that on-ball defense isn't there. Like, that ability to be that stopper on the perimeter just isn't there. And a lot of the top guards in this league do seem to look at Lexi Hull and think, easy money. This is easy buckets. I'm going to get whatever shot I want. And that is concerning. That is concerning. And I do think in Unrivaled she's going to get better. I also fully believe that the Indiana Fever need to keep Lexi Hull. But it's like, how much money do you pay for Lou Dort? Like, how do you get rid of, or do you stop your team getting a better player to keep Lou Dort? Because my biggest fear is that another team is going to offer Lexi Hull the bag. Like, that is the biggest, that is what you call it, my biggest fear. And the Fever match it. Because if the Fever end up matching a very, very overpay, especially if it goes long,